Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope you all are staying nice and toasty, warm and cozy and comfy. This weather is nuts. I mean, I say that because I say that. Your comment, someone commented, it's 9 degrees in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I don't have the fortitude for it anymore. I've been in Florida for over 20 years. And I just, man, those winters up north, I mean, I spent the rest of my life up there, but I don't know how. I really don't know how. All right, you guys, we're going to do a you and them. We're going to get a look. I am seriously hoping that this is not someone that we're trying to get over or move past, that this is something new or that we learned something. Keep in mind, this is the masculine side, this is the feminine side. You can put yourself wherever you belong. You can also listen to this reading as this is your divine masculine side and your divine feminine side. And it can give you some insight into yourself and your situation and what you're doing, and kind of like, sometimes it will bring clarity, right? Because we all have divine masculine and divine feminine energy within us. All right, we have the elephant spirit, learn from the past, coming out on the masculine side, okay? And then we have the swan spirit, a time for a deep dive, and owl spirit, you see clearly now. Okay, I don't know. I feel like that somehow plays into what I was just saying about looking at looking at this as if it's your own masculine side and your own feminine side. I feel like that was almost like, yeah, do that. And then on the bottom of the deck, which is the energy of the connection, you have hummingbird spirit, be here now. And so that energy, I just feel like, is always relevant. It's always good to be reminded, hey, come into the present moment right here. The only place where anything is possible, you know? The past has already happened. We can't do anything about it. The future hasn't come yet. It's not promised to us. Let's just focus on this moment right here together. Let's let all the past go. Let's release ourselves from any of our worries and our stresses from our day and everything that brought us here to this point. And let's just be fully present with this reading, with ourselves in this moment, and with all the limitless possibility that this moment provides. You have this elephant spirit coming out for the masculine. And you know what I got? I got an energy of a masculine who moves very quickly, which doesn't feel terribly Piscean to me, but it could be. And especially if you have fire in, like if your Mars is in Aries or Leo or Sagittarius, or your moon is in Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, like one of those kinds of positions. Sometimes, you know, you'll be, you know, you don't, how do I even want to say this? It's like, it feels like impulsive, but it's not impulsive based on nothing. Like, oh, sure, why not? It's impulsive based on, I'm listening to my feelings, or I'm listening to my intuition, or I'm listening to my gut, or, you know what I mean? I'm going with the flow, but, and that's good. There are positive things about that, right? Fear doesn't typically catch you when you act like that. You know, when you like take action like that is what I mean, more than act like that. But there can be drawbacks, right? If someone is disguising part of their personality, or only showing you part of who they are, or they're trying to be who they think you want them to be, or who you're looking for, they can do that for a period of time. It's not sustainable to do that over a long period of time. But sometimes when someone is showing us what we want to see, we can think, oh my gosh, this is it, and just dive in head first, right? Because we've been wanting it, we've been looking for it, you know, and we're ready to take action. We're not going to mess around and let exactly what we've been waiting for slip out of our fingers, are we? You know, so there's a lot of reason behind that. And you know, it is hard, you know, when people want us to see them a certain way, it's really tricky to see beyond the mirage. You know, there are ways of doing it, and I'm not going to get into that, but generally the best way is to go slow and let someone show you who they are. Let them reveal themselves over time. And especially when it comes to matters of the heart, matters of, you know, high levels of intimacy, stuff like that. You know, you're trusting this person with the most tender parts of you, the most vulnerable parts of you. And, you know, you really, you know, it's coming to me to say, don't want to do that on a whim. I'm going to say it because that's how it's coming to me very clearly. So take it as it resonates, but that's what's coming to me. So elephants are very slow and they're very methodical. An elephant's back foot goes onto the exact same space that its front foot just left. Elephants are insanely interesting. I was obsessed with elephants as a teenager. I went to Africa to photograph elephants. Elephants are really sensitive, incredible, emotionally intelligent, beautiful, spiritual beings. Oh my God, I love them. But they are slow and they are methodical. And they do follow the same trail through the desert over and over again. And they do all walk in a single file line with each other. And they do sort of, it's giving me the vibe of like follow certain rules. And so this energy is giving me like someone who in the past may have kind of broken all the rules or jumped in with both feet head first at the same time, you know, into things that felt right in the moment or that seemed right in the moment, or heavily invested in people who, you know, appeared to be what they were looking for, and then, you know, maybe they discovered it was a mirage, you know, that it was like a false front, a false situation. And so this is someone who's kind of set this boundary or this standard or this rule up for themselves. No matter how badly they want to break the rules and dive in head first, this person's going to go methodically and slowly, and they're going to go by the rules that they have set for themselves. They have achieved a certain level of wisdom, and they know that the only way they can trust a situation is through the consistency of time, is kind of what it's giving me. All right, so take that as it resonates. Okay, then we have these two bird spirits coming out for the feminine, and I keep getting the energy of wings. You also, the hummingbird spirit also has wings, and so I keep getting the energy of wings in your readings right now, Pisces, which, you know, kind of is a twofold energy for me. It is freedom and protection. So I feel like there is some type of liberating energy here and some type of protective energy here. I am hearing like you are not alone there. So take that as it resonates. I don't know, maybe some of you are feeling kind of alone or by yourselves. You have swan spirit here, time for a deep dive, and then you have owl spirit, you see clearly now. And this is just giving me an energy of someone who has really learned and mastered the art of going within to find their answers, knowing that, you know, the wisdom that they seek is inside of them, not outside of them. And there is a certain level of maturity and beauty in these cards that feels like it has come over the course of time. It's kind of giving me like a polished stone energy. It's actually showing me, I think in Sri Lanka, they found the largest something star sapphire or something like that very recently. Sri Lanka, I don't know, maybe any of those things might be relevant. But like I'm seeing that, I saw that the other day, and it's like showing that to me again. Oh, okay, it's giving me like, so this stone, it's not like cut and polished like a stone in a ring would be. It was just like large and natural, but like also very rounded. So like it's a different kind of beauty. It's not like the beauty of perfection and sparkly and shiny. It's the beauty that you can only get through like time and experience. And it is giving me very much natural beauty. And that is giving me like free-spirited energy. Okay, let's dive in here and see what we have. I am picking up like that this very well could be like a newer relationship or a new relationship. Some of you may not have even met this person yet. I'm getting play nice energy. There's a lot of play nice energy. I don't know what that is. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there's something with this masculine. I'm into it. I'm into it a lot. Look at all these E's. 3 E's, 2 S's, 3 E's. Emotional, embracing, expression, and soul searching. There's something about that. Wow, because the only one that's not an E or an S was on the floor analyzing. This could be someone's initials. This could be something that you recognize. The 3 E's, the 2 S's. I don't know. It can even be... I had a client once. I kept seeing energy like this of repeating letters, and right before she met her person who she's still with, she was sitting in her parked car getting change out for a meter, and she looked up and saw she was meeting this guy that she, I guess, I don't know how they got together, but oh no, that's when she met him. She literally like met him. Yeah, she was getting money out for the meter, and she looked up and she saw a license plate, and it had 3 of the same letters on it. And she was like, oh, that's so weird, because I kept seeing that in her reading. And then she went in to get coffee and met this guy. And like a part of me is going, was she going there to meet the guy, or did she just meet the guy in the coffee shop randomly? And I want to say she just met the guy in the coffee shop randomly, but she said she knew instantly, and all she could think about was that license plate. After that, how she had seen it, and then boom. But anyway, so I always feel that way when I get this, the feeling that I have right now is like, pay attention. Like you may see like 3 E's right in a row, or E's and S's, or ES, or that could be someone's initials, or even EAS, some combination of that. Okay, so anyway, this masculine, this energy, like I was saying, it's really good. It is someone who, you know, I attribute this quote to Sir Swami Satchidananda, but it's like, you cannot control the waves, but you can learn to surf. And that's what this feels like. It feels like this person is a bit of an emotional person. Like they have feelings, and feel that, like strong feelings, deep feelings. They're not a skim the surface of life type of person, but that has gotten them into trouble. You know, that has led them into the abyss a few times, it feels like. And so this person has really done the work to learn how to ride the waves without kind of getting sucked under. And I do feel, I feel there is this expression energy that it's giving me the vibe that this is someone that can express their emotion. But again, that seems to have led them into trouble in the past as well. And it's kind of, it's like what they've had to learn is when and when not to, and who not to. You know, it's being selective with their expression, saving it, not always, you know, kind of putting it out there. And also understanding that it is a real true offering from their heart, from their soul, and to kind of treat it in that way. And you have this embracing energy, and it feels like this is someone who is really open to life, but like not in a sort of chaotic, haphazard, impulsive way. This is giving me, you know, like salt and pepper hair. It's giving me like, you know, you know, when it this please don't be offended by this. If you know me, you know that I love dogs, but it's giving me, you know, like when a dog gets white in their face, in their facial hair, like my dog Bhakti is getting white in his facial hair because he's older now. It's like I'm not a young pup, or like not being a young pup that just sort of like goes for it or like goes for everything, but like being more reserved, being more analytical about, you know, which waves to take. You know, we just don't surf them all. We would exhaust ourselves, you know. But it's like kind of waiting for the right wave, but then also being wide open to like everything that life has to offer, everything that life is bringing in, you know. And so like on the one hand, kind of being choosy and saying, you know, I welcome all the waves, but I'm only going to take these. Do you see what I'm saying? It's that kind of energy, which comes with maturity and time. You know, it comes with learning all the lessons of taking every wave, or waiting around for the perfect wave and then missing it. You know, it comes from experience. There's a lot of coming from experience energy, even in the feminine energy here. So this definitely could be your own two sides, you know, your masculine and your feminine side. But with a soul searching, this person is looking for things that hit them on a deeper level. This person is not looking for superficial friendship or good time guys or, you know, pints at the pub. They're looking for somebody who like if they are going to meet a buddy for a beer, it's going to be, you know, like somebody that they can actually talk to. And not like, I just don't know how to describe this, what I'm feeling. It's actually sort of disorienting me, in a way. I don't know how to say what I mean by that, but, it's searching on a soul deep level, and it's understanding that not everything is happening on a soul deep level, and it's having the wisdom to know the difference and to only take the things that are hitting on a soul deep level. I think that is how I kind of want to say it. All right, we're gonna look at the feminine here. You know, I am getting, like, with this masculine energy, this is making me feel very risky that he's sitting on the side of this building. This is someone that isn't really afraid to take a risk. You know, if a worthy risk presents itself, this person is sitting on the edge. You know, they'll take the dive. They'll do it. But it's got to be something that, yeah, that's really worth it. I am even getting like a bit of a natural risk taker type energy there. This is a feminine who had to learn like how to have standards and having standards kind of the hard way. You know, this is giving me a really like naive kind of energy where there's just this, you know, this person that kind of emerges into the world like, oh, well, they must be like me, you know, they must be a good person, they must be a nice person, they must, you know, da 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 da. And like, just, it's giving me like someone who started off very innocent, very naive, very, you know, oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, you know what I mean? I just don't know how to say it. And then, but they've learned the hard way, you know, and now it's like, I feel like this is someone who has been hurt, and you have this chill, and then you have this like much more mature version. This is like blue and white, and this is like light blue, which is the combination of blue and white. And so it's just giving me like, you know, this person going from here to here is, there's a lot of lessons learned, a lot of experiences, you know, a lot of, you know, hard knocks of life, you know. Then you have this stubborn energy, and it's like it's made this person really have high standards and to be very stubborn about it. You know, I'm not very flexible on, you know, they used to be super flexible. They used to be so chill, like, oh, I'm sure that doesn't matter. Oh, I'm sure that's fine. Oh, I'm sure that'll work itself out, you know. And now they're like, oh no, I take this stuff seriously. So, you know, take that however it resonates. And then we have this energy over here where there is this feeling of wanting to be in love. We have these red energies, the confident and nostalgic. And, you know, it feels like feeling loved or experiencing love has sort of been an experience that has been few and far between for this person, where, you know, actual real feeling loved. It's like there are moments where they felt that, but there's spaces and gaps, and, you know, it's not a consistent energy. It's never really shown up consistently for this person. But with this confident, it has helped this person to really dive deep and find things within themselves, find the answers within themselves. And there is this kind of, I was actually watching, I think at Architectural Digest, or somebody went to Genevieve Border's house. I don't know if you know who she is, but she was like a interior designer on Trading Spaces, and I used to watch that show with my neighbor back in the day. And I always really liked her. And so I was watching it, and she was saying, you know, like a woman in her 40s, they're like, ooh, I have all these tools I can use, you know, and a woman in her 50s is like, I know what I'm good at. I know I got this. I know I can do this. And it's kind of giving me that vibe with the confident energy of just sort of like, you know, yeah, I can be in a relationship, and yeah, I can make something work for a period of time and like whatever. But I also know what I'm bringing to the table and what I have to offer. And I'm not looking for a 3-month thing or a year-long thing or a 2-year thing that's gonna drop me off feeling super confused and disoriented. I'm looking for something that either brings and adds a lot of passion and love and stability to my life, or, you know, I don't mind the space anymore, because, you know, I am confident that I can live an exciting, passionate life. But really underneath it all, this person does want love, but they're, with the patient and the intimacy, they're willing to wait for it. They're not going to try to make something work anymore. They're not going to be willing to like overlook things in order just to have something. This is someone who you know, they're no longer seeking to be validated externally. They don't need someone in their life just so that they can feel like, you know, they're lovable or they're okay or they're acceptable. They want true intimacy and true love and a consistency with that. Something they can count on, trust, and rely on. The same way they can themselves. Okay, so I picked these cards because I wanted to be able to say, you know, that let's talk about a past relationship. Let's ask, what did we have to learn? Why didn't that work? You know, for those of you who are still wondering or still wanting to know or whatever, you know, what can we learn from that? So you guys are getting false narrative, discernment, and it says, let me just put my glasses. I can almost kind of read it. But, be mindful of the story you're telling yourself. Having a negative narrative is destructive and simply not true. Stop listening to your ego-based story that is laced with falsehoods and old conditioning. For every negative thing you say, counteract that by saying 3 positive words. See the truth of who you are, which is wise, magnificent, and radiant. We do have to be careful about that. If we are telling ourselves a story without realizing it, that like people are not trustworthy or people are bad or the only people I come, you know, like any of those things, that's going to affect us, you know, in trying to have a relationship moving on. And then you have old conditioning release. And it says, it's time to release old conditioning and to step into the new way of being. The old story and past cycles of blame, shame, and guilt need to move out. Take inventory of what no longer resonates and what isn't your burden to carry. Unload what has been weighing you down. All right, so take that as it resonates. I just thought that I always think it's kind of helpful to do that from time to time. All right, and then this is about this relationship that we are talking about here. My ears just started ringing. Okay. All right, we have this energy of mistakes. I wish I could right my wrongs and secrets. I haven't told you everything yet. And then on the bottom of the deck, you have unexpected outcome. Things didn't go the way I planned. You know, this is interesting because it is, you know, none of us come to the table without a little baggage. And, you know, there are things that I think we do carry around as people, especially if we're thoughtful, empathetic, and compassionate people, where it's like we wish we would have done something different, or we think we could have done something better, or I feel like I'm not quite saying this the way that I want to say it, or like I'm not conveying exactly what I'm trying to convey here, but it is this energy of like, you know, there are things that we sort of keep to ourselves that we're kind of like, man, I wish I hadn't done that, or I just don't know how to say this, but I hope that you know what I mean. And it feels, you know, you don't tell those things to anyone except, you know, like I tell those things to my husband, and that's what this is feeling like. It's like things that I've done that I wish I hadn't done, things that I wish I would have done that I didn't do, that I've kept really locked up within me, and I've never been able to like bring them to the light or been able to say them. But yet this could be a safe space to say them. And with the unexpected outcome on the bottom of the deck, it feels as though there is this, how do I want to say it, like gratitude, like there is this understanding and appreciation and gratitude that we're not pulling any punches. We're not hiding, you know, our deepest, darkest, whatever. But also when you can say those things to someone, you know that is a super safe environment. you know, you're not worried that like, oh, you're not going to love me anymore, you're not going to care about me, or you're going to leave if I tell you my truth, you know. And so there's something here about trusting someone on a deeper level than we've been able to trust someone before, and even almost finding that we want to say these things to this person, like, or yeah, like, yeah. Okay, let me see. Wow. In this person's headspace, you know, there is something here where this person knows that they can sort of get a little tied up in seeing things a certain way, or like having kind of a revolving thought where it's like, for example, I actually met this person this weekend, like at a dinner function thing that I had to go to, and I was talking to him, and he's, you know, a young guy, I don't know, 30, I would think, and he was talking about how he recently moved to a new area, and he had kind of like, you know, he wanted to make friends, he wanted to, you know, have a life and everything, and he was kind of like down on himself, or putting a lot of pressure on himself to like just go out and make friends, or just go out and do stuff, and then he kind of had to get a hold of himself and think, okay, you know, what are productive ways I could express this energy, or I could, you know, meet people, or put myself out there, or sort of establish myself in the area. And, you know, so he started taking like golf lessons. There were all these things that he kind of really wanted to get better at. And so he was just a really sweet guy, really like conscientious, and he was a Pisces. I was like, oh, you're a Pisces, oh my God. But anyway, yeah, so, and he, you know, he is a bit introverted, and he's a super intelligent guy. And, you know, I think, you know, he just wanted to have like healthy points of connection with other people, and, you know, maybe golf would be one, maybe, you know, he had all these interests and all these things he was doing. And anyway, I totally appreciate and respect that. I was like, yes, do it. And there were things that he kind of wanted to learn, or he already knew how to golf, but he wanted to get better at it, so he was like, why not? But there were other things that he did, not just that. And this energy right here with this 8 of Swords and this Queen of Swords, it's like, I think what he was kind of sharing with me was that in the beginning, when he first moved down here, he was really beating himself up, like, oh my gosh, I don't have any friends, it's Friday, I don't have anything to do, like, you know, all this stuff. And so he would kind of go around and around with that. And I think he broke his cycle of sort of thinking of himself in that way. And I said, you just moved down here for this job. And he was like, yeah, but, you know, he's a young guy. And so anyway, he was just so sweet. He was so adorable. Anyway, he broke that cycle of thinking by just actually taking an action step, by actually, with the Queen of Swords, going, hey, wait a second, this isn't productive. You know, I'm seeing clearly that just kind of beating myself up about this isn't really helping. And, you know, there isn't anything a way for me to maybe directly address this issue. Like, I guess he could do online dating or something like that, but he's not that type of person. And so he figured it out. And the Queen of Swords is kind of an energy that we do develop, like, only after we've gone through the entire sword cycle, you know, after we've had some kind of negative experiences. It's like, you know, I hope this is like making sense. You know, I can never tell. But there's just this energy of kind of like when we know ourselves well enough to kind of cut ourselves off, like typical patterns that we have made for ourselves where we kind of can get into an unhealthy cycle that sort of keeps us from taking action or moving in a particular direction with the Eight of Swords. You know, like, oh, you know, I wish I had someone to do something with, or I don't have someone to do something with, or, you know, yeah, it's giving me like I should have someone to do something with. Even, you know, I don't know. So just take it as it resonates. It's probably going to be personal to whatever, but there is this energy of seeing it clearly. And what you have between the Eight of Swords and the Queen of Swords is the Ten of Pentacles. And so this is the goal. You know, I want to have a life that leaves a legacy. I want to have, you know, something that matters, something that I'm building, something that I'm working at, something that, you know, I'm investing in on a daily basis. And so maybe I haven't found that person that I'm going to marry yet, but maybe I can invest in myself. You know, maybe I can take the golf lessons. Maybe I can, you know, and who knows, maybe I'll meet someone, or I'll meet someone that knows someone, or, you know, blah, 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 you know. I wouldn't say that the Queen of Swords energy is like super optimistic or anything like that. And so I'm trying not to give that impression, but I am trying to make it clear that the Queen of Swords is going, oh, I recognize this pattern in myself and I know this doesn't serve me. And so I am going to take a different approach. What solution can I come up with? What is one thing that I can do to break myself out of this cycle? Like, I know myself well enough to know that I will go down that cycle, or that I could go down that cycle, or that maybe I am doing that. And I know that that doesn't serve me, and that that isn't taking me closer to the Ten of Pentacles. You know, looking at how I don't have it, and showing myself all the ways in which I can't move toward it because of this or that isn't going to be helpful. What is one step I can do? And the sword, you know, cuts things off and cuts things out. And the Queen of Swords, you know, she sees things very clearly, and she is going to cut out these patterns of thinking, these cycles of thinking that are not helpful. She can't prevent them from coming in, but she can recognize them when they're there and cut them off. Return the mind to a productive thought. You know, in one of these cards, it was saying, you know, for every one bad thought you think of 3 positive things, you know. With the Four of Swords being on the bottom of the deck, this is someone who has a tendency to get in their head. But this, you know, this elephant energy with this Queen of Swords energy, with this Four of Swords energy, this person has maturity. They know themselves. They know their propensity to get in their head. And they have developed skills that, you know, I guess I could say it simply by saying help them to get out of their head. What they want, this person wants, is stability, security, love, long-term connection. They want to invest in something that's building and growing. In the heart space, this person is getting the Page of Cups, the Six of Coins, the Lovers, and the Three of Swords. Yeah. With the Hermit. There's even a tear in the Three of Swords eye. this person has definitely been hurt. And like I say, I really think they have been hurt in situations where they have kind of rushed in based on what someone is presenting to them, and then discovered that that's not really who the person is. And there's such harmony in the heart space here. You have the six of coins and the six of the lovers card. You have the page of cups, which this is where the page of cups resides and belongs as far as I feel, you know, the energy of it. And with the three of swords, you know, that there is this, I do really feel like this is a deeply emotional person. And so when they love, they love. Like when they choose somebody, they really give it everything. And even when that person begins to hurt them, they still, it's like they still have difficulty letting go of the love even when they've been hurt. There's almost this stiff upper lip energy with this three of swords, kind of like, I'll take the pain, you know, which isn't necessarily a stiff upper lip, but it's kind of like, I'm strong, like I can do it, like I can do it without showing it. I can do it without, but it is affecting this person, and it does affect this person, and they know that it does. Like they know that it does. And I think when they do that, when they take that on willingly and they allow themselves to kind of suffer and be hurt to be in a relationship because they are also loving someone, even though that person is hurting them, it's giving me like a series of trade-offs and like, yeah, one of them is their own ability to connect to their emotion. Like they kind of shut down emotionally. And then it's like they have to spend this time in the hermit, you know, reconnecting with themselves, and kind of asking themselves, how did I get there? How did I go down that path? That's why this person is so committed to this elephant energy of going slowly and being methodical and going by the book and being patient and waiting it out and letting someone really show them who they are. It's also giving me the energy of like kind of being their own best friend. Like instead of saying, yeah, you can suffer for your love of other people, it's saying you love yourself. You're not going to put yourself through that. Does that make sense? I don't know if I said that right, but hopefully I did. And with the Page of Cups, this is who this person genuinely is. They are a deep feeler. They are a feeler person. I believe they are a water sign. Or they have water in their chart. I mean, maybe it's you. You could be a Pisces masculine. There is also Virgo and Gemini right here. And Libra. The Three of Swords is a Libra. This person may actually have blue eyes. There's also a generosity in this person's spirit. This person is a very giving person just by nature innately. They do like to make other people happy. They like to be the person who gives, or who their reward sort of feels like it's in, like in feeling like they made someone smile, or that they helped take someone else's pain away, or yeah, it's almost like if they have positively affected someone emotionally, that's their payoff. And so there is this that's what they're looking for in someone else. Someone that they could actually really trust this emotional side of themselves with, who could give it back to them. Safely, who would reciprocate it, who would be able to balance them out. Yeah. There's 2 6s in the heart space, and that is, this person is really coming into alignment with love. And union and harmony. They say, like, in order to have love, first become love. Let me clarify the Tower. There's definitely an energy in that with this masculine of falling for people who turn out not to be who they thought they were. And this feeling of kind of having the rug pulled out from underneath of them. There's also a difficulty letting go of people here that I feel. Kind of like, this person is like showing you who they are, and you're looking at them right in their eye, and you're like, but I believe it could be different, or I've seen a different side of you, or even it's giving me, and I really hesitate to use this word, but misguided sense of love, where it's like, okay, but I see that you're showing me this toxic behavior, but when I fell in love with you, I fell in love with you, and it's unconditional, and I'll work through this toxic behavior with you. But the person looking them in the eye is like, no, I am toxic, and I don't want to change, and I'm not trying to do different. And so it's just giving me this, like, leading to a lot of obstacle meeting, difficulty, strife, constantly trying to work through things, constantly having things to work through. There's never really an ease of being able to just float on by, having an easy go of it in a relationship. And so this person with the 9 of Cups here, there is this real energy of, I will stay, I have found a way to be content by myself, and I will stay content by myself rather than put myself in this situation again. I think that this person also, with the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, the 8 of Pentacles is mastery of the self. And there is this energy where there could be a little bit of a Mr. Fix-It, a little bit of a let me help you damsel in distress, or you know what I mean, kind of energy. Like this person is having a major awakening or a major realization around the fact that they were sort of choosing potentially like project people, and that they weren't there, where their heart was taking them was to this emotional payoff of being able to help someone emotionally transmute. But they were, I felt, picking people who didn't want to emotionally change. And so that ended up kind of being slammed back in their face. They ended up getting the transformation, not the other person, emotionally, and it wasn't great. It was hard. It was like, I'll just keep my feelings to myself from now on, or I'll just become emotionally numb, or I'll just cut myself off from that part of myself, because this hurts too much to love someone, to suffer for it, to give and give and give, and to not really receive anything, to not have it be reciprocated, you know, da 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 da. It's like, this has hurt me too much. It is giving me like metal pans hitting against each other. Like, you know, if one is stationary and the other one hits against it, that one takes the brunt of the blow. But if they're both moving, you know, so I don't know what this is, except to say that this masculine is the one that has absorbed the brunt of the blow in relationships. Like, they were the one that was willing to take all the risk. They were the one that was willing to, you know, do all. And so they were the one that took all the brunt of the blow. When the mask came off. I am strongly getting blue eyes. Take it as it resonates. So with the Knight of Cups coming out of this Tower, Eight of Pentacles in reverse energy, this person's wearing armor, but they are still following their heart. They are still an emotional being. And, you know, they may be a bit harder to reach or a bit harder to convince to open up than they used to be, but it's still there. And with the Nine of Cups, though, it's kind of like, I have figured out how to be emotionally content on my own. And I am, if that is my lot in life, it's not what I want, but it is good. I would rather do that than to have this experience again. I don't want that. Okay, let's look at the feminine. The feminine in the mental body has the Eight of Cups and the Seven of Cups in reverse, and the Four of Cups upright, and the Wheel of Fortune, which is a 10 on the bottom of the deck. So this is a completion. This is a cycle change. And, you know, there is an energy of reflection on things that this person has had to walk away from, and things that where, you know, they sort of, it's kind of giving me willingly misled themselves. In other words, they bought into an illusion or a fantasy of maybe who someone was or what they were dealing with, like, or that, oh yeah, this will be okay. Or, you know, I see this red flag, but, you know, there's all this other good stuff. And so probably, like, it'll all work out, you know, where they end up in positions where they have to heal, where they have to, and there is a lot of, like with the Seven of Cups and the Four of Swords, the Seven of Cups in reverse and the Four of Swords upright, there is a lot of you know, mentally releasing and letting go that has to happen in order for this person to find peace in their mind. And this really is like, it does feel like, especially the last relationship that this person had, or the last like maybe major relationship that this person had, either the person walked away from them or they had to walk away from the person. But in either case, it came with this great understanding or knowledge of that the person never really was who they thought they were, or never really could have had what they were hoping that they could have had with this person. Like, there's a real smack of reality. And so it's kind of like, having to let go of the idea that this person is going to come back around or that that situation will change. So it's kind of like it's got this person to the place where the best I can do is sort of release all of that energy, not keep going over it, not keep beating myself up over it, not keep examining it, not keep wondering, you know, is it going to change? Is it going to come back around? But to just accept as it has been, release it, and know that things will change. That, you know, like, sort of like giving me this vibe of like, well, you know, not being single forever, like embracing the energy of, you know, there is someone out there for me. There is something out there for me. And like, it will change, and I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace with however it goes, whatever happens here. I don't need to cling to some idea or to force something in my head to be something that it's not, in order to like stay happy, you know, or to stay positive. Wow. In the heart space, this feminine is getting justice in reverse with the 4 of Cups and the Ace of Wands and the 4 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. This is a pretty powerful energy. This is someone who feels like things have not been fair, that, you know, they haven't really given their heart a fair chance, or their heart hasn't been given a fair chance. They've always been very disappointed in the end with their relationships, or always really let down. And it is giving me this vibe of someone who feels as though either no one or no romantic partner has ever really truly seen them or appreciated them, or even been in it for that reason or that cause. It's kind of like, you know, maybe they fell for people who were really just looking to have their own needs met. They weren't even really interested in who this person was, or like, love on in that way. Do you know what I mean? And it's like this person still wants it. They're still craving it. They're still yearning it. They still want that story. They still want that experience. They are manifesting it. They are creating a foundation for it. In the masculine's heart space, we had 2 6s. And here we have 2 4s in the feminines. And there's even a 4 in the mental body. So there is a heavy emphasis on this. Feminine is in a space of creating the foundation for whatever this is that's coming in. Okay, so we have the 9 of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, the 2 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. In the feminine's energy, we have 2 aces. We also had the Wheel of Fortune. So the feminine is definitely in a point of transition or transformation, where things are really changing and they're coming into a brand new cycle. And you can see the tail end of the past cycle really expressing itself here in these energies. The 8 of Swords, the 8 of Cups in reverse, the 7 of Cups in reverse, the 9 of Swords. It's an energy of, I have been maybe even recently affected by another person in a heavy way that has been a lot for me to process, and has been a source of anxiety, fear, concern, worry, sleepless nights. but it is over, you know. 8s and 9s are the end of the cycle, and the 10, that Wheel of Fortune, which I called the 10, which was weird. But when I'm calling attention to the 10, that is the end of a cycle, that is the completion. And then there's these 8s and the 7 8s and the 9. Sometimes a lot of progress is made, and either we don't necessarily see it or know it, or a lot of progress is made and we're sitting here waiting for something to change. Like, I know I've closed out that cycle. I know I've let go of all of that stuff. Where's my new thing? You know, where are these aces at? You know? And so what can happen when we don't readily see the aces materializing in our life is we can get in our heads, especially if we're someone who is prone to that, where we're like, you know, maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe I'll never meet anyone. Maybe, you know, this, maybe that, blah, blah, blah. You know, like we can get in a, yeah, I mean, the Eight of Swords is definitely a stuck energy, and I'm getting that word stuck. But there is a sense here that of just there's a lot happening underneath the surface, or there for a lot of people, for a lot of this feminine energy, there's a lot of hope that maybe just hasn't revealed itself, or there are these new beginnings, or you're standing on the precipice of this new beginning energy. And maybe the last thing to turn before that happens is the mental body. And, you know, sometimes I always feel like there can be this little delay where, you know, our own tendency to like talk ourselves out of things or talk ourselves down or be critical of ourselves. It's like the universe is giving us this space to choose different. And it's very easy to fall into our old same pattern. There is this energy with the Two of Pentacles where it is a choice, and it is the choice between love and fear. And with these Eight of Swords and this Nine of Swords, that fear is coming from past experience. It's coming from past programming. It's coming from a deeply entrenched way of thinking that we've carried with us for a long period of time that sort of takes over. It's like a default setting that takes over when we're not being mindful, when we're not watching it, when we're not paying attention. And there is this, you know, energy of moving beyond that, of becoming mindful of it and gaining control of it so that we can choose a new opportunity that's coming our way. And so that, you know, an ace is just an offering from the universe. And if we aren't properly prepared mentally and we're not ready for it and we're not in a great energy to accept it and to do something with it, that ace can fall away, you know? And so there is something here about timing and about being ready for it and about really, you know, being mindful and plugged in and not letting this default setting take over, you know, consciously making the choice to get that fear under control. So that's what I see. All right, let me get you guys some message cards here. There's definitely a new day dawning here for this feminine with these two aces and with that cycle, the 7, 8, 9, and then the Wheel of Fortune. There is definitely. All right, if you're dealing with a water sign, you're getting, I just want to go back in time. I am working on myself. I am overcoming my fears. Oh yeah. If you're dealing with a fire sign, wait for me, annoyed, and trust me. If you are dealing with an earth sign, you're getting be patient with me, please, controlling, and cold. And if you're dealing with an air sign, you are getting, I want a future with you. I'm ready for more than just texts, and anxious. All right, guys, this is what I have for you. I really hope it helps. Until next time, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.